There was an obese man watching TV. He saw an ad for weight loss, but it didn't say how it worked. All it showed were all kinds of success stories. So the big boy picked up the phone and called the number. The next day, he heard his doorbell and rolled to the door. When he opened the door, he saw a naked chunky girl in shoes and a sign that said, "If you catch me, you can have me." He ran after her all day but couldn't catch her, but he lost tons of weight. The next day, he heard the doorbell and hobbled to the door. At the door was a nice-looking girl holding a sign that said the same thing. He chased her but just couldn't catch her, yet he lost tons of weight again that day. The obese man had become very fit and healthy, and yet he heard his doorbell for the final time. When he opened the door, there was a black guy in shoes with a sign saying, "If I catch you, I get to keep you." My uncle told me this a long time ago and felt I should share. A couple and their 2 sons are watching TV. She looks at her husband and winks at him. He gets the message and says, "Excuse us for a few minutes, boys. We're going up to our room for a little while." Pretty soon one of the boys becomes curious, goes upstairs, and sees the door to his parents' bedroom is ajar. He peeks in for a few minutes, trots downstairs, gets his little brother, and takes him up to peek into the bedroom. "Before you look in there," he says, "keep in mind this is the same woman who smacked our just for sucking our thumbs." An older couple is watching TV, and the man stands up and says, "I'm going to the kitchen. Do you want anything?" His wife answers, "Yes, please get me some chocolate ice cream with sprinkles." The man starts to leave when his wife says, "Honey, are you sure you don't want to write that down? Your doctor said you may need to in order to remember." No, I'm sure I'll remember what you asked for." A few minutes later, he returns with fried eggs and toast. His wife says, "Well, see, you didn't need to write that down. You completely forgot my bacon." An elderly couple is watching TV. The woman asks the man, "Can you please get me some ice cream?" "Sure," he replies. "Do you want to write it down?" "Just because you'll forget," she says. "I can remember a bowl of ice cream," the man replies. "I also want some fruit on it. But write it down." "That's okay, I won't forget." "And some chocolate sauce." "Now you'll definitely forget this." "No, it's fine. I won't forget. Promise." So he goes away into the kitchen, and after about 20 minutes, he comes back into the living room and puts a bowl of porridge on the table. The old woman looks at him angry and says, "Where's my toast?" Little Johnny is in school one day when his teacher tells the class that she wants to hear each of them say a little about their families and specifically what is needed in their lives. The first student is a little girl. She stands up and says, "My family is mostly happy, but what we really need is a bit more money. My dad leaves for work before I am even wakame, and he works hard until late at night to put food on the table. Money is needed in my family. More time with my dad is needed." The teacher is moved. She thanks the student and moves on to the next. A little boy stands up and says, "All we are missing in my family is my older brother. He wasn't off to fight in the war a year ago, and nobody has heard from him since. My mom always waits for him by the window. My brother is desperately needed back in our family." The teacher is now tearing up. She thanks the little boy and moves on to the next student, eventually making their way around the classroom with one heartfelt response after another. Finally, they come to the last student, little Johnny. The teacher has come to expect antics from him, but gives him a chance. "Little Johnny, what about you? What is something needed by your family?" Little Johnny stands up briefly, says, "Nothing, we have everything," and sits back down. The teacher, slightly upset, asks, "Now how is that possible? Each of your classmates has shared something. How can you be so sure that your family doesn't need a thing?" Little Johnny stands back up and says, "Well, I was watching TV with my parents late last night when my sister came home crying. She said, 'Dad, please don't be mad at me, but I am pregnant.' My dad disappointingly slapped his knee and said, 'Damn it. That's all we needed.' 2 multimillionaire friends met up for lunch and started chatting. 'So, how's your home life?' asks the first multimillionaire. 'It couldn't be better,' replies the second multimillionaire. I bought an elephant. An elephant? Are you crazy? It's the best purchase I ever made. He grazes the lawn and makes it nice and even. The kids love to ride him and slide down his trunk, so now they are playing outside and being kids instead of just watching TV all day. My wife loves him too. He's very strong and helps her move things when I'm not around. Honestly, I can't think of a better pet. The first multimillionaire thinks for a moment. That's actually kind of amazing. How much did you pay for him? $500,000. What a bargain, huh? Can I buy him for $1 million? What? I can't sell him. He's part of my family now. Okay. $2 million? You can't put a price on something so useful. $3 million? Fine. I'll sell him for $3 million, but only because you're my friend. A few months later, the multimillionaires met again. The first multimillionaire is raging. The elephant may have been useful to you, but he's a burden to me. He may have grazed your lawn, but he ate all my trees and left dung all over my lawn. The kids are terrified of that huge, noisy, and aggressive thing. My wife and I haven't had a good night's sleep in months because the elephant keeps us awake. It's the worst purchase I ever made. I don't know what to say, says the second multimillionaire. But with that attitude, you'll never be able to sell him. A policeman was interrogating 3 guys who were training to become detectives. To test their skills in recognizing a suspect, he shows the first guy a picture for 5 seconds and then hides it. This is your suspect. How would you recognize him? The first guy answers, that's easy. We'll catch him fast because he only has one eye. The policeman says, well, that's because the picture I showed is his side profile. Slightly flustered by this ridiculous response, he flashes the picture for 5 seconds at the second guy and asks him, this is your suspect. How would you recognize him? The second guy smiles, flips his hair, and says, ha! He'd be too easy to catch because he only has one ear. The policeman angrily responds, what's the matter with you two? Of course, only one eye and one ear are showing because it's a picture of his side profile. Is that the best answer you can come up with? Extremely frustrated at this point, he shows the picture to the third guy and, in a very testy voice, asks, this is your suspect. How would you recognize him? He quickly adds, think hard before giving me a stupid answer. The third guy looks at the picture intently for a moment and says, the suspect wears contact lenses. The policeman is surprised and speechless because he really doesn't know himself if the suspect wears contacts or not. Well, that's an interesting answer. Wait here for a few minutes while I check his file, and I'll get back to you on that. He leaves the room and goes to his office, checks the suspect's file on his computer, and comes back with a beaming smile on his face. Wow! I can't believe it! It's true! The suspect does, in fact, wear contact lenses. Good work! How were you able to make such an astute observation? That's easy, the third guy replied. He can't wear regular glasses because he only has one eye and one ear.